Welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to discuss how different groups of people love to find the absolute worst in every aspect of life and run with it with the utmost conviction. And with that in mind, and that being said, that brings me to today's topic of Sydney Sweeney and her American Eagle commercial, which I know you're all very well versed in. I fail to see its connection to Nazis and eugenics. Even though I've seen it multiple times, and I'm sure you guys have, let's check it out just one more time.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
You see what I did there, right?
Well, I mean, there's the first part of the commercial. For some reason, I keep finding it in two different clips. I've not seen them all strung together. But let's check out the second half. Maybe the Nazi Third Reich propaganda is in that one.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has great jeans.
Nope. Still not seeing the correlation. Listen, I figured there's a few issues with this, with the absolute meltdown that has been happening, and some things I could say that would be mean and in poor taste. I try my best to refrain because I'm also king of sarcasm and with a dash of facetiousness. So I really try not to point out obvious, just obvious, I try not to reach for the low hanging fruit in certain situations. I don't always succeed in that, but I at least try. But let's look at this from a very social construct and as everyone is making everything out to be anymore these days, a gender-based perspective. She's a woman. She's very attractive, obviously, duh. I think she's a great actress. I've seen a lot of her stuff. She's funny. She can also play serious roles. But I would figure that especially the liberal side of the Democratic Party, or just anyone in general that supports DEI, would be happy with the fact that that's what's really been implemented here. And I say that because DEI started out as something that was going to be, that it's in theory was good. And even Pete Buttigieg said it himself. It just became a numbers game. Like, look how many people of color or people of, that are of the LGBTQ that I can hire, that had nothing to do with qualifications. Not that she's not qualified to do a simple acting gig, obviously, but she was hired not just because of that, but because of how she looks, because she's attractive, extremely attractive, and sex sells. Sex, drugs, and murder all still sell. Those are still hot commodities in that industry. Anything that can be marketed with that is going to bring in positive returns in some respect. Whether it's more viewership, or with this, it's the stock going up and the sales going up for the company, which it did. Then, of course, it ebbed out and it came back down a little bit. But, of course, there was a massive surge in sales, obviously. And then, of course, the meltdown from the left actually helped to amplify that. The same thing that happened with Trump becoming president for a second time with his 30 plus felony counts, blah, 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 bullshit. You guys just the left keeps helping the right. I mean, that's just, they just hand it to them. But so I digress. I don't want to go off on some other tangent that has absolutely no relation to this situation right now. I hear enough about Trump. I'm burnt out on that. But to take what she said and make it into something as if she's a Nazi and she's promoting eugenics is absurd. It's freaking absurd. I'm so over these frantic, frail outbursts that come from both sides of the aisle. From anyone for that matter. The country's kind of, I mean, we've hit our limit. We hit our limit a long time ago. And people that are bored and miserable continue to perpetuate this crap. But everything, and it was a play on words about her having good genes, and her genes are blue. Yeah, her eyes are blue too. Who cares? Who cares? There were blue jeans. It was denim. Now you guys can read into it however you want. Obviously, it's a free country, but it's absurd. I mean, enough's enough. You don't need hobbies. You need jobs, or to put more focus in having a better existence and stop stressing about every damn thing and having absolute monumental meltdowns over. I mean, this is a freaking commercial. And like I said, I don't want to reach for low-hanging fruit, but I mean, a lot of the people that were complaining about Sydney Sweeney don't have the looks that Sydney Sweeney has, and they look like a bunch of feminazis that are man-hating. I mean, they may even hate their vaginas for all I know. Like, they don't like true femininity. Now, some of them were not. It doesn't apply to everyone. But what also doesn't apply to that commercial is any kind of racism. I'm so fed up with that BS. It has gotten so out of hand and so much more. It is so much worse than what it used to be. And we'd actually had leaped several large hurdles. I remember, growing up as a kid, there wasn't a whole lot of that going around. There were waves of it, obviously. Racism still exists. Misogyny still exists. All these phobias, transphobe and xenophobe, blah, 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 whatever. Victimhood BS that people like to feed off of. Not to say that true atrocities have not happened and still couldn't happen and won't happen, because they will, because human beings are flawed. But to take the commercial like that and turn it into something that ridiculous. I mean, y'all do that shit with Trump all the time over everything. Everything is Trump's fault. It's old. It's played out. Like there's no power behind it. There's no gusto. There's nothing there. People are just bored with hearing it because most of it is BS. And to take something like a clothing commercial, just because you don't like the actress or actor or whatever terminology you are using these days for female actors, because you don't like her, you don't like how she looks. It's ridiculous. So it's childish. Let me tell you the world I live in. I'll give you. I've got multiple examples. I travel all over this country. Tonight. I'm in a hotel. This is my 89th stay this year in a hotel because of my job. And I encounter lots of different people, all different classes, all different colors, shapes, sizes, creeds, gender ideologies, genders, like across the board, all over the country. And I do support the LGBTQ. 100% I did before they ever come up with that. It's not even really an acronym, but before they ever come up with all the letters, and it's called the alphabet gang or whatever crap, slight that's said about you guys. If any of you were watching this, I mean, I supported gays' rights. When I was a kid, I was raised to do that. I was raised to not judge people by how they look. I was raised in a trailer park by two country ass, hardworking parents. I was raised to be that way. I was raised to, you want more, you do more. You want better, you do better. You help people when they need it. Period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they love. It doesn't matter what they look like. You judge, and I'm a judgy son of a bitch. I'm going to tell you right now. But I judge you by what you do. That's how I judge you, not by how you look. So looks are absolutely deceiving. A lot of people just want to run with a bunch of crap. But anyways, I was up in Mishawaka, Indiana. It's by South Bend. It's right up there by the Michigan state line. And I was with my daughter. She's 5. I had her with me there. She goes on the road with me every now and again. And she's about to start school, actually, which is pretty cool. Kindergarten. So that's going to come to a screeching halt, except for on breaks. But anyways, went outside. There's a big fountain out there. I think Dionysus was on it, holding a pitcher of what's wine, but all these different heads, these busts with all these fountains shooting out of the mouths and stuff like that. And this woman walk over. There was a cafe across the way there. They walk over and they sit down on one of the benches. There's a black man and this white woman. And I'm only saying these colors just because of the relevancy of it to the story. His name was Stephen. Her name was Constance. They were both attorneys. The black man was probably 5 or 6 years older than me. Constance was probably about that younger than me. I was pinging him in his early to mid 50s. I'm 47. And she was probably in her mid to late 30s. They're both attorneys. Figured, surprise, surprise, a person of color and a woman excelling in life in this country, they're doing well for themselves in a country that's systemically racist and misogynistic. That's why Kamala Harris didn't get voted as president, which is also bullshit. We just say hi to each other, good evening or whatever. This is in the evening. Weather outside is beautiful. My daughter's loving the fountain. Well, then we strike up conversation and we go over everything from work to child rearing to the insanity of this country and people, how they just want to easy this and simple that and instant gratification this, and people don't want to work anymore and people don't want to have accountability. I mean, we covered everything and it was this amazing connection that I had with these two people in this conversation. And me and the gentleman, Stephen, we had a lot in common. We were around the same age, and were raised in the same era, both definitely Gen Xers. And even our child rearing was very similar, and the way we disciplined our kids and raised them. So I've got 3 others that are adults. My youngest from that first grouping is about to be 21. Then I have a 22-year-old and a 24-year-old who'll be 25 this year. At the end of the conversation, we've been talking probably 45 minutes to an hour. And the gentleman stands up, Stephen, and Constance stand up. And she likes to be called Constance. We talked about that too, how much is in a name. And his is Stephen with a PH. My middle name is Stephen with a V. So we had that connection there too, which was pretty cool. Something's very just mundane, but it was still enough to help drive that interlacing of two human beings together on something so simplistic as that. But the gentleman, Stephen was about to walk away. We went to shake each other's hands and we hugged each other. Like I didn't hug Constance because I don't hug random women. I'll hug dudes because I'm married and I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna that it's gonna look down on my relationship, stuff like that. So I just don't hug just random. I mean, if they're female friends of mine and I've known for a long time, I hug everybody like that. But I gave this man a hug, this random black man. Not that color matter really, it doesn't matter when you strip it down to two people connecting, two people who have experienced life, who are sharing their wisdom and knowledge with each other and finding these synchronistic events from paths that never crossed before. It was a good conversation. Now, this is the country I live in. This is the United States I live in. The United States of America that I live in. That we all live in. That's reality. I can give you 100 damn stories like that of me and people of multiple racial backgrounds where that's how we relate out here in the real world. Not the bullshit that you see on TV that you're being spoon-fed to freak out, to be, to have these absolutely ridiculous adolescent emotional meltdowns over stupid shit like an American Eagle commercial and a blonde with big breasts. I mean, that's stupid. This country is not systemically racist. It's not systemically misogynistic. This country is very fair in a lot of ways. And I don't think that for a second I'll look at it through rose-colored glasses because I know just how crappy people can be. You have this black man who is an attorney and a very well-dressed. He told me some things he probably shouldn't have shared about a case that him and Constance are working on. They both did, which I will not speak on because I don't know the legalities of some of the information they shared, whether I can share it. But it was a very open conversation that was and flowed nicely, and just three people that didn't know each other from Adam on a happen chance meeting and connected as people. That's this country. That's a country that I love. It has nothing to do with the leaders that are making mistakes, and they all do. All of them do. I love how people just love to brag about Biden and Kamala, how perfect they were, and that's bullshit. Pull your heads out of your asses. I love to checks and balances. I love to run that with everybody, and I do it with Trump too. There's a lot of stuff that he does that I disagree with. There's a lot of stuff that he does that I do agree with. That's why it's the joy of being an independent. But yeah, this is just silly. This is silly. Well, I mean, this country has gone way too far with you all's delicate sensibilities. It's ridiculous. So, that's my 2 cents on it. And I wanted to share that story with you because, like I said, I have a multitude of those. It's ongoing, endless. How many of those kind of stories I have from all over this country. And that is reality. Not that Sweeney and American Eagle are part of the Nazi imaginary Reich that is the United States of America now. So please feel free to tell me what you think. Leave your comments and like, share, and subscribe.